Hey everybody, this is Herpenderp here with the E4 Mafia. Just kind of going through and showing you guys some things that I've been working on. Um, I've been working on my Discord bot for a while now, and some of you guys were kind of curious of how I go about making it. So, I'm running this as a JavaScript type program. And when I run it as a JavaScript, the nice thing about it is that you can create commands and then you just then plug and play commands. So if you want to, copy and paste and just go repetitively, you have that luxury of just going in and doing everything. So for example, uh, when I go in and I do have a couple other people I was pinging this off of. So like General Rex was one of them. But like for example, you want to do add reaction. I can build that up as a add react. Why didn't it work? Sorry, I clicked that. So, so what you do is you go in, and I've been running this as the way it runs. So you have your action name, and then you have the name of like add reaction, action section, sections under messaging, subtitle, function, and that way and I just punch in, I want command A to do function B. This is kind of where it gets the meat and potatoes for it, and then it's kind of a module. It's just something that is that action. Yet when I go in and, like for example, let's say I want my bot to, when somebody says, let's play, oh, what's a good example? This is really hard because a lot of this stuff is behind the scenes shit that no one sees. Um, hmm. Actually, let's just kind of do something really simple. So let's say, excuse me. So let's say you're doing, you want to make a music bot. Well, I have it where you need to have it find a voice channel. So you go in, find voice channel. I made it where it says view voice channels. It needs to have channel control. Then you go in and it needs to be able to store relevant variable. And then these are all just kind of like text fields through here. They don't actually do much of a function. That's when you get into this right here because you actually are running, you know, uh, option 0. You need to have it find channel ID / cancel option and or find channel by name, channel by position, channel by user limit, and then channel by bitrate, or choose bitrate options. So you need to have those as kind of like what you need to set in there. And then those are, when you choose those value 0 through 4, those value options then show up as this is what you need to do. You'd have, if you choose option 4, it creates the result of channel.find at bitrate. Well, you don't really find the bitrate. That this is more, like I said, this is more behind the scenes shit that the bot does autonomously when you just ask it to, I want to listen to music. So when you do the simple command of, exclamation point, play song, or play music, or just command music, then it'll go in, uses that music as, okay, well, this person wants to play music. Okay, well, what we have to do, we need to find a channel, an audio channel. So we need to find the channel ID. Or if we can't find a channel ID, we'll make one with a channel name. And then, or you need to find the position in the channel so it joins it. And then user limit, whether or not there's a limit there. And if there is no limit, then you need to be able to go to a different one if it's already at its max. So it's doing all this shit behind the scene. And with all the stuff behind the scenes, so it found that voice channel. So now that it found it, you need to go to where's my J's? Join voice channel. So now it knows, I didn't mean to do that. Don't make me do this. But now it's one where, okay, now we know where it's at. So now that we know where it's at, you need to go in and create a command where it says action function, and you need to join that channel. So what that is where it evaluates the message, get voice channel, type variable name cache, and then it uses that information to do the audio.connect to voice channel. That then it goes to then function. Then the then function is where it opens up the, as if someone was talking and you're hot micing. It's an open channel that bot is constantly in. Then when you join that channel, let's say you want to play files off your computer or play files off YouTube, you do open edit, And then you're going to have a lot of functions where it's like, okay, well, function is run YouTube URL, input, you're entering a lot of your HTML, and then it's the value of, your YouTube link. But that's if you want it to be like a specific one. You can set this to a variable by doing, instead of the value equals HTTPS, you can put in equals temp variable whatever you name your variable. So if you have it store information and you have it store that information to temp variable song request, it'll then use that temp variable song request as the item that you're using to fill in that blank. So like this, because it's already set to that specific YouTube URL, when you have it set to play that YouTube URL, it'll only play that URL. Unless you had it set to search for songs, and or if the person were to submit their own, then when someone submits their own, that YouTube URL will actually be filled in by the temp variable song request. So that's where you have that option if you want it to. So there's a lot of stuff behind the scenes in making a bot that a lot of people don't know about, which I think is kind of cool that there is so much you can do. But when you run it as like a Java, you kind of have the ability to literally make it do exactly what and how and where and why you do what you do type of bot. So like if you're even really high speed enough, which I started to play with it, but I have a hell of a time opening. I was trying to build a HTML function where it would use a API to translate if we needed to. The problem is that it does so much stuff on that API that the API breaks like every single time I try. So I'm still working on that one, but there's so much code that goes into doing all this kind of stuff. And then the fact that I'm doing it on Notepad because I'm too poor to afford a real coding program is fucking fantastic. Sorry. And here's like what I was talking about, that YouTube search. This is the API for YouTube. I don't know why it looks like this, because it didn't look like this when I saved it. But it works, so I'm not going to touch it. That's going to be a bitch and a half to fix. And in case you guys are wondering, no, this isn't the way it's supposed to look. Each one of these double lines is supposed to be a new line. But it's not. So I apologize. This looks like garbage, because that looks like poop. But it was perfect when I saved it, so I'm sorry, because you see it's supposed to go case 3, case 4, case 5, case 6. Well, these are all supposed to be like in line. So it didn't do that. I don't know why. Sorry. Not sorry. It works. And if it works, I'm not going to fix it. Excuse me, I am terribly sorry. And it's one where if you want to have things where you want to have like a currency involved, the currency is a bit of a trick, because you actually have to have your bot store information. And it's easy if you have it export that information that it has as a variable into, like a .txt file, and then you just read txt files by keyword or by point lines. So you do players. I can edit that. So for example, player ID this has, value 0 equal to bot dev equals 1, chips 5, money 716, won games equals 0, lost games 0, jackpot 1. And you do all of these for every single thing that they have. If they don't have one, you typically have the command that you're using to give them or add to that value create a value if there is not one. So I'm sorry, my throat is fucked up for some reason, but that's where you kind of get a little bit of everything there. So, and then other things like settings. The settings, I'm gonna have to blur that out, but this is where you would, like, if you want to have it pull your token ID or your client ID, then you can, update your tags, so what your command is going to be. If you want all your commands to be case sensitive, And then if you want to have a separator, what the separator's code would be and how that works. So this is like a, you know, this is the, when you run it as a JavaScript and someone says, oh, hey, I want to do this, it checks your, you know, it checks your tag. So it's one where there's, like I said, there's just a bajillion pages and things that you can do as far as coding goes into everything that's on here. But one of the things I love, let me get this pulled up here. So this is one where I'm working on making a command function to check the weather for you. So you can put the weather, name of city, and it pulls the weather in for you. So it's an API, but the API runs as a action type for, let me see where it's at. Where is it? It's all fucked up. This function returns a string containing the HTML used for is event parameter for somewhere in here. It's just a lot of, why does this look like poopy doopy garbage shit? Fuck. I don't know. Okay, I don't know. I'm sorry. Don't hate me. But when you set these commands, I can literally, or set these actions, sorry. When you set the actions are kind of just like plug and play. And I actually got a lot of these off the internet. I could make them, but half of them, you see where it says mod. The ones that say mod were actually made by other people, which is quite a bit. Yet all the ones that don't say mod are the ones that I made. So, you know, when you're looking and you go dink 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 dink, I made all those. They're fairly simple actions. But some of the other ones were a little bit of a pain in my ass, so I was kind of looking, and some people had, oh, hey, do this. So I did mod because, you know, I modified somebody else's existing code, which, the pain in the ass. Ghostbin is a good friend of mine. I love Ghostbin. Love that site. Anyway, what was I saying? I don't know. Anyway, I don't know. I don't know what I was saying. I'm sorry. But with the, everything that you have here, you have all these actions. So you want a command. You set command to, give me this real quick. So, oh my god, why is it looking so poopy? Anyway, this isn't going to be that bad. So you have it to where I have a name, I have a command that's rule agreement. Yet the rule agreement is when you join my Discord server, it automatically checks to see if you have a role. If you have no role, you don't get access to any of the channels. And if you have no role and you agree to the rules, it reads your message as agree, assigns you a role, and then this command stops giving two flying fucks about you. So that's where it stores the message information, and because that's store message info is actually an action. So let me see here. So you have store message info, and then after the store message information, it checks for the role, the Giovanni Army, because that's the name of the role for pretty much anyone and everyone in my server. Then if it has it, if you have it, it puts your storage variable to level 1, and then it puts, if you don't, it gives you the variable name new role, and it runs the find role action. So these are all actions that you just run on a string. So instead of making a command that's like 30 pages on top of 30 pages on top of 30 pages, you just make one command that's this action, this action, this action, this action, so that way those actions can be used multiple different times without actually needing to be rebuilt every single time, which is pretty fucking nifty, but can still take time. So, like this guy here, this is my casino one. This right here is all just store information for people who play my slots game on there. So when someone wants to do casino, it checks to see if the person has permissions, but I have the permission requirement set to none, so it doesn't give a flying fuck. Restrictions equal 1 mean that it just, you know, it has to have a person. It's not really a restriction, but I can't put 0 because 0 is locked out, apparently. I don't know. That one I don't know. But then it runs action LTKCB, which I will not tell you what that action's actually called because I'm still working on it and I forgot. Anyway, but then it runs and then it gives post comment casino system created by Herpader version 1, color, your hex code. Then I have it to where it gives name, comment, and then the comment is storing casino. And then in there, this is all the storing information. So remember, 1, variable name. The variable name actually, there is none because I don't need it because this is already being stored. This is just pulling that. It's whatever. Anyway, data name, I save it as, chips, money, games won, games lost, jackpot 1, slots 1, games won on slots, casino membership, and cooldown. And then it stores it if it's like, okay, this person has this value, this value, this value, blah, 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 blah. And, it goes on for pages and pages and pages and, pages and pages and pages and pages, blah, 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 blah. So this is one where a lot of this is just, garbage, googly moogly. If you can decipher this, congratulations, you're a coder. If you can't decipher this, don't worry, this shit's above most people's pay grade. But that's one where this has kind of just been a quick walkthrough as far as the coding and some of the process that I do on my bot. And I actually have a graphic user interface that I do use to pull it up, but the graphic user interface is broken right now because apparently Microsoft decided to update my program. And it's not even a Microsoft program, so I have no idea on that. Let me see if I can just show you guys real quick. So, I'm terribly sorry. Apparently, after Microsoft updated it, it's not even on my computer, so I can't show you. But this has been Herpaderp here. I appreciate you guys checking out the video. If you want to see more behind the scenes stuff, check out my Patreon page. And I hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your week because it's rainy here in South Dakota and I fucking love it. You guys thought I was gonna say hate it, huh? Yeah, you did? You did? Lame. I love the rain because it's not hot and it's not frozen because South Dakota it's either you cook in your skin or you're frozen. If you've been here, you know what I'm talking about. If you haven't been here, don't ever come here. There's a reason why we have like the lowest population in the state next to Alaska. And Alaska gets the worst of the rap, yet we're worse. We're worse. We're worse. We have less population than North Dakota. Like, how? We're further south, but we get just as cold. And we get hotter. It sucks. What am I talking about? You guys have a great day. Leave me alone. God, don't leave me alone. I love you. God, please come back. I love you.